born in Washington, D.C., moved out to Virginia, was pretty much raised out there. We got two sisters, a younger brother, my mom and my dad. Small family, but my mom, she was born legally blind, she couldn't see, so that put a lot of stress on my father as far as providing for us. The county we were living in was kind of expensive, but they gave me everything I needed to have a good life. My father got diagnosed with cancer, and they didn't tell him, but by the day we found out, he lived for 7 more months, so it happened pretty quickly. During that time, of course, him being the provider for my mom and all of that, we've grown at this time, but having to figure out that burden of taking care of my mom, trying to keep her in the house, all that kind of stuff. My brother, I didn't know it at the time, but he was messing a little bit with pain pills on his own, kind of keeping it for me. One day I went over to the house and he was feeling sick from it, not having it. And I didn't have any to give him, but I did have the heroin. And I was like, man, this is the same thing. You might as well, this will make you feel better, So I pretty much got him started on it. Yeah, he graduated from college, the only one in my family to graduate from college. The problem with my brother and with his addiction was that at that point I was so out of control. The little he was doing wasn't even seen and wasn't even noticed because my family was watching me. I started getting arrested again around the age of 27, 28. June 9, 2016, he had to go up to see his probation officer like usual and leave the urine sample. Right after that, he called me while he was walking out of the probation office, and we were talking on the phone for about 15 minutes. I thought he was on his way to go get a bag because he just left probation. So I was trying to stay on the phone with him to make sure once he did it that he was all right. And then he wasn't saying anything when I was done, which was unusual. So I was like, hey, Chris, are you there? And he didn't respond to me. And then I heard him snoring, but it's like, they call it the death rattle. It's like you can't breathe no more, basically. And it's almost like this gurgling, but it sounds like snoring. And being through the same thing for myself so many times, I already knew what time it was. So I started yelling his name. Losing him was it was really the only thing, comfort I had throughout this whole period in my life. And as a friend, just being so close to him. We was always together, even when I was incarcerated, we would talk every single day. And so for me, I had the 9 months clean, but getting back out into the real world with his loss and just not really having anybody to replace it, that was hard for me. Just kind of be a message of hope for people, let people know it's never the end of the road, no matter what you've been through. As long as you're still breathing, you have another day at this, you have another chance. It's easy to live in the past and live in the mistakes that you made, but you can't change those. And so if you just live every day like it's a fresh start, it eventually becomes a fresh start, and then that stuff is just behind you. So I go around sometimes and share my story at different treatment centers, and anything I can do to bring awareness to the problem. And some of the most valuable people are addicted to drugs, and so if you can take the persistence and the way that they ran after that drug and you can just turn it into something positive, they usually wind up more successful than the average person.